Leon Todd for G66. Welcome to another Tuesday Tone Tip. On today's video, we're going to take a look at the Supremo Trem amp model, which is based on an old Supro 1964T. This is one of the most straightforward amps to use with only two controls. We have a gain and a tone control on the tone page, and it is one of the easiest ways to get a great classic rock tone. The original amps were used on some of the all-time greatest records ever produced from the classic rock era. Jimmy Page was a fan of these amps and strongly suggested that one of these was used on the first Zeppelin album. So we're going to be digging into those kind of juicy early 70s, late 60s kind of tones with this setup. I've got an old ES335. I'm on the bridge humbucker at the moment, plugged straight into the FM3. I've got the Supremo Trem in the amp block dialed up at the stock settings, and I've paired it with one of the matching factory cabs in factory bank number 1, cab 490. This is the 1x12 Supremo extension, shot with an SM57 on there, low cut at 80 Hertz, high cut at 8K, a little bit of a sprinkle from the large room reverb on there. Let's hear on the bridge pickup. And then the neck, I'm going to dial this in as I go. So we just have the gain control. So this is going to give us more or less distortion. And the tone control, this one is interesting in the fact that as you turn it up, it gets darker rather than brighter. So you can think of it as like a classic tone control wired backwards. Basically what I like to do is just bang out a couple of open chords on the bridge humbucker, turn the tone control right up to the point where it starts to get too dark for my liking, then back it off a little bit and just dial in as much saturation as I like with the gain control. I could play with that tone for hours. It is so straightforward and so touch sensitive on there. You would have noticed as I played around with my guitar's pickup selector and the volume controls on there, I could go from a really kind of throaty vintage crunch to something a lot more pristine, clean, and kind of chimey in there. Playing around with different cabs is an awesome way to get more out of this amp. Basically, again, find that sweet spot on the tone control and then dial in as much gain as you need, and then you can get everything else you need by playing around with different cabs. There is a 1x15 Supro cab in here. So this is the 1x15 Supremo Bolt. I've gone for a 57 again. Let's just hear this again with everything wide open, and then I'll clean it up a bit and we can start having some fun, and we can stack some effects in front of this because it is a great pedal platform amp. those cabs run together in the cab lock sounds really good, in my opinion, as well. You're getting the smoothness and the extra low-end response from the 1x15, and then you're getting that straight-up throatiness from the 1x12. One of my favorite drives to run in front of this is the Bender fuzz on here. You can start with the stock settings on there and just dial in more or less drive, and you can use a tone control to cater it to your guitar. I actually think this sounds fantastic at the stock settings, and we can also throw some tremolo on here as well. I'm going to use the neon trem, and then we'll hear the bias trem, but first let's get some fuzz on. Trem and spring reverb into the front of the amp on there is super tasty as well if you want some of those vintage 60s tones on there. Again, if you don't want to do any of that and you just want to use the amp straight up, it is so easy to dial in. It's a classic rock machine, and it is one of my favorite amps in the Fractal ecosystem for vintage rock and roll tones. I'd love to know your thoughts on the Supremo Trem in the video comments below. Let me know what you're using with it, what your kind of favorite recipe for guitars and cabs and other effects are. It's always awesome to be able to share this knowledge on here. And if you have requests for future Tuesday Tone Tip videos, any topics you would like me to cover, let me know in the comments below. My blocks and my free IR will be linked in the video description. I also want to say a massive thank you to everybody who has subscribed to the G66 channel over the years. It has just ticked over 20,000 subscribers, and this would not be possible without all of you. So have a great day, go and enjoy playing your guitars, and I'll see you on next week's Tuesday Tone Tip. Cheers.